Hello, everybody. My name is Zertuku, and welcome back to Zap Entertainment. After all this time, we're finally doing a video, and I got Akari to finally read The Poison Tentacles of the Deep. But she also kind of promised that she'll be doing The Infinite World of Battle Quest after this video. So, get ready. All you have to do is minimize it now.
Okay, I hope it. I think I pressed it. I hope.
I hope you didn't exit it out.
I didn't.
Okay, you didn't. Okay.
Okay. Anywho, hello everyone. This is Akari, and I'm ready to read The Poisonous Tentacles of the Deep. The sun rises on a beautiful summer morning, gleaming off at a house sitting on top of a hill, seemingly in the middle of nowhere. Living in the house is a peaceful family consisting of two teenage sisters and their parents. As the sun gleams through the upstairs window, the two sisters wake up to the beautiful summer morning. The first sister is named Christy, and she is the biological daughter of the parents. The other sister is named Cheryl, who was adopted because when Christy was a little girl, she always wanted to have a sister. Christy's mother and father could not produce another offspring, so they adopted Cheryl. Christy is a blonde white girl with an extremely nice figure. Zach, really? Sudoku, I mean? You're weird. Cheryl is.
I didn't know. I didn't have any other way to describe it, so
Okay.
my bad, I guess.
Cheryl is black with brown hair, but she also has a nice figure. Okay. Weird.
Like I said, I had no other way to describe it. Bobby curves.
Basically, whatever. I'm not getting into details.
Well, it's your fault for asking, so no one else to blame but yourself.
Shush, brat.
Just continue reading.
They were more than just sisters, they were best friends. They shared their thoughts, which included personal ones to each other over the years. After waking up out of bed, Christy and Cheryl take off their pajamas and switch into their normal clothes. They then head downstairs to have breakfast. Good morning, Cheryl, said the father. Morning, Dad, said Cheryl as she gives him a hug before passing by to get to the kitchen table. The girls sit down at the table while their mother is cooking pancakes. The sister's father is named Clero Quill, and he is a fisherman who works at the docks. Mr. Quill is what he is referred to as. He is a 6.5 foot tall man with dark black hair, and he is extremely muscular. The sister's mother is named Caroline, and she's an artist for a local art museum. Since it was an extremely hot, beautiful day in the middle of summer, after the sisters finished their breakfast, they decided to go to their secret swimming location. Once the two sisters arrive at the location, they look around seeing nobody there as usual. So, like any other day, they decide to take off their clothes and go skinny dipping. Okay. You know, one of these days we really should bring Joseph here, said Christy as she finished taking off her clothes. Since it was your idea, why don't you ask him yourself? Asked Cheryl with sarcasm. Christy giggled as a response and jumped into the clear crystal water. Christy was too nervous to tell Joseph anything, or even Cheryl for that matter, because he was considered the most handsome of all the boys in school. Cheryl followed Christy into the water, but also jumping in. After jumping in, the sisters start swimming around peacefully, completely nude. Obviously, it's what skinny dipping is.
It's called detailing.
D- d- it was obvious from the start.
But I added more detail.
You're just a brat, a big old goober.
You're the brat. Now get back to reading.
Christy dives down into the water and races back up to the surface. Cheryl thought it would be funny to splash her sister in the face, so she does. Hey! Stop it! Said Christy with a smile on her face, and as a response splashes her sister back. As the two sisters are having fun splashing each other in the face, they are unaware that something sinister beneath the water is slowly coming to the surface. All of a sudden, Christy stops with a concerned look on her face. Ouch! What was that? Asked Christy as she looks below the water trying to see if something was there, but she couldn't see anything. What was that? What was what? Asked Cheryl. I I don't know. I felt it felt like a bee sting on my foot. It really hurt, said Christy. All of a sudden, Christy screamed in pain over and over again and began to splash in panic. Oh, great. What's the matter, Christy? Said Cheryl in complete fear and panic. Cheryl tries to swim forward towards her sister to find out what was going on. As she was swimming forward, she felt the sting on her arm and screamed in pain, wondering what the hell is under the water. Cheryl looked at her hand, and noticed that there were red burn marks on her hand. Christy eventually sinks into the abyss, and out of love for her sister, Cheryl tries to dive to save her. Upon diving down, she can see millions of jellyfish coming closer to the surface, and her sister was being surrounded by the millions of jellyfish that were stinging every inch of her naked body. Realizing the danger, Cheryl tries to swim ashore, but one of the jellyfish swims up into her chest, and the tentacles burn her stomach and chest. Cheryl screams in pain as she tries to swim forward, but she can feel the jellyfish burning her legs as she tries to kick. Some of the jellyfish have swum up close to her areas and butt, stinging her. Out of anger and panic, Cheryl swats one of the jellyfish with her hand without even thinking about it. As a result, the poisonous tentacles get tangled up on her hand and sting her. Eventually, Cheryl couldn't take it anymore, and the constant stings of millions of jellyfish all over her body eventually kill her. She is finally swallowed up by the millions of jellyfish. Meanwhile, at the local radio station, a broadcaster sits down in a chair and then goes live on the radio. Good morning, everybody, here in Sunny City. It's a nice hot day to go down to the beaches and enjoy the beautiful water, said the broadcaster on the radio. Sunny City is a medium-sized city on the edge of Florida. Sunny City is a low-budget city that depends on the many tourists and vacationers to come swimming at the city's most famous beach, which is claimed to be one of the best vacation spots in all the world. The beach itself stretches out less than a mile. There is a famous water park to the east of the beach and an aquarium to the west. A local power plant can be found in the far northwest of the city, which was built by the mayor so the town doesn't have to pay a fee for an outside power company. Local officials claim that the power plant is not near nuclear and that it is water powered. However, some of the residents disagree due to the fact that many of the coral reefs are dying. As the peaceful morning was going by in Sunny City, the chief of police arrives at the police station. The chief's name is Bert, and he looks like a normal white American. Bert was born in Caddo County and has a hillbilly accent. As Chief Bert walks into the police station, he began to walk by the front desk only to be stopped. Only to stop by the front desk secretary. "Excuse me there, Bert. I got a call from the private Sunny Resort, and they want you to go over there to check out a possible body," said the secretary. Let them know we'll be there," said Bert responded as he continues to walk down the hallway into his office. 2 hours later, Chief Bert and three of his deputies arrive a mile away from the main city in the private area of the Sunny Resort, which is a large desert-looking area with very few trees around. The resort is a location where people live basically out in the middle of nowhere. However, the resort is within the jurisdiction of Sunny City. Even though it's a private area, the police still are able to maintain it. However, they never usually come out to the resort for any reason except for today. Upon arriving at the location, they met up with a distraught old lady who has a look of fright on her face, and it looks like she was about to be sick to her stomach. "We're here, miss," said Chief Bert. However, the old woman was unable to respond because of a shock of fear in her heart. As a result, the old lady just points towards the beef. Chief Bert and his deputies had a confused look on their faces and walked only a couple feet to see two corpses that had washed up onto the shore. "Oh, Jesus Christ," said Chief Bert as he takes off his police hat and puts it to his chest. He begins to say a prayer to himself after seeing such an unfortunate sight. The deputies get out some body bags and put them into a local ambulance to be driven to the main city to have the bodies octopies. Okay, what's the word for when you look at the body?
Autopsy.
Yes, autopsies. There we go. Immediately after arriving at
I
the
find it weird there, Akari, that you did not know what that word was, but okay.
because it's spelt wrong.
It is?
Yes.
Huh.
Immediately after arriving at the morgue at the police station, the two bodies were identified. As the bodies are now in the morgue, the local doctor begins doing an examination to identify the cause of death. Just looking at the bodies, he's never seen anything like this before in this city. The first thing that popped into everybody's head is a possible attempt to burn the bodies because of the fact that the bodies were extremely scorched. At first glance, everybody was thinking possible murder was involved. However, after the doctor started cutting open the bodies and taking blood samples, he came to a different conclusion. The doctor wasn't in the position to tell his findings at the moment because it still didn't make any sense to him due to the fact that nothing like this has ever happened here in Sunny City. An hour later, the chief of police walks down to the morgue to see the local doctor and hear what his analysts revealed. However, as he was coming down the stairs to see the doctor, he saw him on the phone. "Yes, I need to have a marine biologist come here and give me a second opinion on two bodies that were found," asked the doctor, sitting down in his chair on the phone. Yes. Okay. Thank you very much. Have a nice day," said the doctor as he hung up on the phone. "So, what is the cause of death?" asked Chief Bert. "Well, we can definitely rule out murder as a cause of death. However, this is something I've never seen before," said the doctor. "Okay, then. Are you telling me you don't know what did this?" asked Bert. "Well, upon examination of the bodies, we found enough jellyfish venom in their body systems to kill over 100 elephants," said the doctor as he shrugs his shoulders. This revelation earns a chuckle from the chief. "You're telling me a jellyfish did this?" asked Chief Bert. As a response, the doctor just shrugged his shoulders with an I don't know look on his face. Now listen here, Doc. At most, we only have maybe one or two jellyfish that come around these parts. But I find it hard to believe that one jellyfish did this, explained Jesper. It wasn't just one, though. Well, that is what I called o- ocean, the marine biologist, the Oceanographic Institute, to bring an expert on the matter. The doctor responded with another shrug of his shoulders. As a response, the chief of police rolls his eyes and walks up the stairs back into the office. It was a dark, cloudy, rainy night when Chief Burt drove up to the Quills' home to tell them the bad news. He pulled up the house and knocked on the Quills' door. Caroline opens the door with a look of confusion to see Chief of Police standing there. "What is it, officer?" asked Caroline Cole. "I'm sorry to tell you this, ma'am, but we found the bodies of your two daughters down by the beach," explained Chief Burt. Immediately, Caroline begins to cry. "What's going on, honey?" asked Mr. Quill as he walks up to the front door, holding his wife gently. "Now, currently, we don't know who or what did this to your daughters, but we have started an investigation. We will let you know when we find something," said the chief as he respectfully walks away back to his police car. As he drives away from the house, Mr. and Mrs. Quill hug each other out while the rain appears to be coming down harder than before. The next morning in Sunny City, in an apartment building, a woman in her mid-20s wakes up to get ready to work at the aquarium. Her name is Ellen Narden, who is one of the leading marine biologists at the local aquarium. She's a very beautiful woman with long brown hair and a nice slim figure. She switches out of her pajamas into part of her uniform and begins making some coffee while switching on her television. After her coffee is done, she sits down at the table near the television to listen to the news. Apparently, two young teenage girls were found dead yesterday morning by Mrs. D in the private resort area just outside of Sunny City, said the news lady on their television. The information immediately catches Ellen's attention. Both of their bodies were extremely burned by the beach. These poor young children, I don't know what caused this, but I have confidence in Chief Burt's investigation, said Mrs. D on the news interview. At that moment, Ellen had a hunch that maybe something in the ocean may have caused it. She was extremely suspicious about the power plant that the mayor had built last year. She was one of the people who was against the idea of having a power plant on site near the ocean where tons of the healthy coral reefs existed. She's always worried about the environment of the ocean, and she thinks that maybe the power plant was the cause of these mysterious murders. After Ellen goes to work, she manages to find some free time during her lunch break to go to the police station to talk to Chief Burt. She knocks on the door to Bert's office. "Yes, come in," said the chief as he was signing some papers. Ellen comes through the door. "Hello, Chief Burt. My name is Dr. Ellen Norden," said Ellen as she sits down in front of him. "Are you from the Oceanographic Institute of whatever it's called?" asked the chief. Ellen did not want to lie to him, but she wanted to get her own answers. As a result, she had a confused look on her face as she tries to figure out what to say. "No, but I am a marine biologist for the local aquarium. I would like to ask your permission to conduct my own analysis on the two bodies that you have," asked Ellen. The chief of police put down his papers and leaned back in his chair, making a thinking gesture. Before he could say anything, there was another knock on his door. "Yes, what is it?" said the chief with a hint of frustration. Opening up the door is the morgue examiner who conducted the autopsy for on the two bodies earlier. The morgue examiner is named Dr. Fred Shelton, who is an older, nerdy-looking guy. Chief, we have some good news. We finally have a biologist from the Oceanographic Institute, said Dr. Fred with happiness and confusion as he looked at Ellen, wondering what was going on. Send him in, said the chief. After that, walking in, it was a somewhat muscular man with black hair and a fresh-shaved face. Hello, my name is Jack Cooper from the Oceanographic Institute, said the somewhat muscular man as he steps into the smaller room. Welcome aboard, said the chief as he rolls his eyes before taking a moment to think. Since you're both biologists, I want you guys to go down to the morgue with us to take a look at the bodies and tell me what happened to these poor little girls, explained the chief. Everybody nodded their heads in agreement and then proceeded to follow the chief down to the morgue. Fred opens up the two freezers and takes out the two bodies that are covered up by a white cloth. I hope none of you two are screamish, because if you are, you're in the wrong place, said Fred as he's looking at Ellen, realizing that she may not be qualified for this particular business.
What kind of laugh was that?
What
What are you, like one of those 1930s villains?
You're gonna pick on my laugh?
Yes.
You know what? You laugh like a freaking hyena. And the Wicked Witch of the West combined.
How dare!
So in my eyes, you're like a female old witch that's dressed like a man.
Ew, no! Kick the sister in the face for that one. That was going a little too far. I mean, I deserve to get yelled at for, picking on your laugh because I really shouldn't. But that was like, I don't know how to put that in this perspective. Cutting my legs off and throwing me to the piranhas? Maybe. Don't even! If you even try, I'll kick you in the face and I'll break your butt.
I'm surprised with this book you haven't actually had piranhas. And when I first started reading, I was thinking of like an octopus, not freaking jellyfish.
That's interesting. Maybe I shouldn't.
But you definitely need to do some more research on your marine life. Seriously. You are lacking in crucial facts about how jellyfish actually work.
It is supposed to be entertainment, by the way.
You could still at least have some actual facts in there.
I have some, just not a whole lot. Actually, you know what? I actually might have more information than you.
We'll get into that debate later.
Yes, back to reading, please.
It will be a fact war. Look at her face.
You're breaking the rules on the whole challenge thing. Now get back to reading. You're breaking the rules. Now get back to reading.
but come on. By the way, your voice got really high pitched there. That was funny.
Yeah, I almost sounded like Jack Black for a second there. Ugh. Back to the book.
No, Jack Black's too cool for you.
Would you stop being an evil sister and read the goddamn book?
I am loving this.
If anybody wants to kill my sister, go ahead. I'll cover it.
Hey, we are not going to be instituting murder here. I have enough.
Take that.
I have enough shit going on. I'd rather not be dead.
All right then, Miss Shitstain.
Excuse me, I am not a dude. The fuck? I'm not a fucking dog. I don't have anything down there, thank you, and I don't have
Just
shoulders.
read the book, but we're gonna pretend that didn't happen.
I could just call you a girl instead.
No, you can fuck off with that nonsense. Now, thank God, read the book. I don't want this to be an hour-long video, and I forgot to set the timer to know how long we're going. Now, get moving.
Drink break. Sorry about the nonsense, everyone, but hopefully you enjoyed the commentary. Why are you looking at me? Asked Ellen. Because I don't know why you're here, asked Fred, good confusion. But since the chief said the chief, but before he could continue, he was interrupted by Ellen. Don't worry. As a biologist for the aquarium, I've actually seen my fair share of bodies, especially shark attacks, explained Ellen. Okay, said Fred as he lifted the two sheets off the teenage girls, showing their bodies that were completely burned from their shoulders down. Oh my God, said Ellen as she puts on sanitation gloves. Ellen picks up one of the teenage girl's arms and examines it. This is definitely what you call an extremely fatal mistake that normally happens in open waters, said Ellen as she puts down the arm. Agreed. This is normally caused by people swimming through a pod of jellyfish. And by the looks of it, there were lots, said Jack, also putting on some sanitation gloves and looking over the bodies with just his eyes. So this was caused by jellyfish, said Fred. Yeah, except in order for this to happen, there would have to be tons of jellyfish coming close to the shores, explained Ellen. We're probably talking about hundreds of jellyfish here, but judging by the injuries, I'm guessing there were a lot more than normally found in the ocean waters, explained Jack. Tell me again, where did you find these bodies? Asked Ellen with complete seriousness. They were found on a private beach about less than a mile away from the Sunny City, explained the chief of police. We got to check out those waters because this attack seems almost deliberate. Jellyfish are not aggressive by nature, explained Ellen. Agreed. Do you have a boat? Asked Jack. Yes, I do. Chief, can you call my boss and let him know that I'm part of the police investigation? Asked Ellen. No problem, but I still have a question. Are the beaches safe? Asked the chief of police. Unfortunately, we do not know the answer until we go out and look. Due to how severe this attack was, I would suggest closing the beaches until further notice, explained Ellen. Jack immediately nodded his head in agreement in the chief of police's direction. Well, that's gonna piss off a lot of people.
I think that's obvious. I'm sorry. Read the book.
20 minutes later, the chief of police drives up to the mayor's house. He stopped the car in the parking lot and then walks inside. Inside is Mayor Calvin, who is a chubby looking old man wearing a blue jacket with a red tie. Very cliche.
I get the feeling that my sister thinks everything I write is cliche, even if it's not.
No, I just say this was definitely cliche. Anywho, Mayor Kelvin is outside on the balcony of his house having dinner with some representatives of the city. How is the power plant running, Mr. Snyder? Asked the mayor. The power plant is running smoothly and making us money, Snyder responded. Crooks. That's what I like
What'd
to
you say?
I said crooks.
Crooks.
Yes.
Huh. Maybe.
I know you and how you think and how you write.
Just the way you said that sounded very creepy, and I do not much appreciate it.
Dude, I've been reading your books for years. I should know how you write your stuff.
I don't. A lot of well, believe it or not, I didn't actually release that many books, did I?
You've been writing books since you were a teen. There are books that you have written that you haven't even released. And I've read.
That's true. Well, no, you have not. That's a lie. Now back to the reading.
I've read 4 of your high school books.
No, you haven't. No, you haven't.
Your school had them printed off and sent home.
Alrighty, back to the book, please.
Ow. Sorry about
Karma.
the wiggliness. That's what I like to hear. Cheers, everybody, said the mayor as he holds up a glass of champagne and everybody clinks them together before drinking. I hate that sound. Oh, I will spray you down.
You spray down with the shock. What is it? I mean,
It's a water gun with a pump. So,
great, I'm wet now.
No comment.
Definitely so. Back to the book.
Oh my god.
I hate human psychology.
What?
Human psychology, you know, the brain always goes like to the worst possible scenarios. I hate that.
That's why I said no comment.
Agreed. Back to reading. I think I killed the Kari by accident.
Forgive me. I'm dying of laughter. I have collected myself. I should be okay for now. Anywho. What? Shush. All of a sudden, the mayor's butler walks up to him and whispers in his ear. Sir, Chief of Police is here to see you, whispered the butler. He looks at the butler's face with a serious look. You all will have to excuse me for a moment, said the mayor, as he stands up and walks inside to see the Chief of Police waiting for him. This better be important, Chief Bert, said the mayor with a hint of frustration, walking up to the Chief of Police. It is important. I just came from the examination of the 2 bodies with the biologist from the Oceanographic Institute. They both agreed that we need to close the beaches until further notice, said the Chief of Police. Mayor Kelvin looks at him very strangely. Are you serious? Asked the mayor. Immediately, the Chief of Police nods his head. Yes. The mayor takes a deep breath before speaking. Listen, Bert, if these 2 unfortunate incidents happened way outside of town, that gives me absolutely no reason to close the beaches, said the mayor with anger. But, sir, Chief of Police responded, but he was interrupted by the mayor. And one more thing. I don't want this tragedy to darken my doorstep again. Do you understand me? Said the mayor with more anger. I'm gonna stop for a sec and just say, I don't care whether you are a mayor or not. If the police officer, who is a chief, tells you need to close your beaches, and you refuse to close the beaches and there are more deaths,
you got no one else to blame but yourself.
It is on you for those deaths. And if it is proven that because they obviously have to go through that investigation anyway, then you get locked up. Bye-bye, mayor.
I don't think that works in real life, but okay.
I mean, it should.
Yeah, well, there's a thing called...
But we all know the justice system is fucked up anyway, so...
Yeah, basically.
Anywho... Sigh. Yes, Mr. Mayor, but still. Yet again, the chief of police was interrupted. No buts, said the mayor as he gives the chief of police a serious look. At that point, the chief of police had no choice but to agree with the mayor, so he left. The mayor then went back to his business. Ow.
Bless you.
Thank you. Meanwhile, Ellen and Jack are on a boat at the location where the bodies were found in Fuck off, yawn. Where the bodies were found in private preserve area outside of Sunny City. Piloting the ship is Captain Keith Hook, who is an old man in his mid-40s. You know, mid-40s is not old, right?
It's old.
You're basically calling yourself old.
Yes, I am very old.
It's okay, because you already act like you're a 90-year-old man.
Okay.
Anywho, he's a tough-looking man with a tattoo of a boat anchor on his shoulder and wearing a sailor's hat. Keith stopped the boat and lowered the anchor. At the same time, Ellen was putting a camera drone into the water to look for the jellyfish. While Ellen is putting the drone into the water, Jack is watching her do so, and for a moment he looks at her butt before turning away to compose himself. Perv!
You can say that now, but watch what happens.
Oh boy. After she puts the camera drone into the ocean water, she takes the remote control out of Jack's hands and activates the drone before it dives deep below the surface. If you look at the monitors, you can see what the camera sees, explained Ellen. Jack looks around at the monitors. At the same time, Ellen notices Jack's physique and is attracted to him, but she composes herself to be professional. You're
What were
both
you
pervs.
saying? They're both first. Oh my god. You have you have some issues.
They are. You're on a professional business. You should not be looking at each other like that right now.
Well, they did compose themselves, so
Correct.
so your comment is invalid. You can put that birdie back in its cage. Now back to the book.
Anywho, let's see. As Keith is making his way around the boat to get back to the helm, he notices Ellen staring at Jack. I don't see any jellyfish, said Jack. Why are we looking for jellyfish anyway? You can't eat the damn things, said Keith as he stands next to the monitors, crossing his arms. We're investigating to see why there were so many jellyfish so close to the land, explained Ellen. It's unusual for jellyfish to come in big swarms that close to the land. It's also rare for jellyfish to be aggressive. We want to know what's going on and see if we can capture one of them. If that happens, we can study them and understand why, explained Jack. Oh, okay, said Keith as he rolls his eyes. Meanwhile, back at Sunny City, during a gorgeous afternoon, dozens of local tourists are enjoying the beautiful beaches in the far back of the beach, about 30 meters out. There are 6 boys getting ready to play catch with the football out in the deepest part of the water. Oh boy. Here comes more bodies. Maybe. Okay then.
Let's see what happens.
Tell Malachi and Seth, you guys are on one team, and I'll have Zeke and Paul on my team. If you drop the ball in the water without catching it, then the point will go to the opposite team. Is that understood? Explained one of the kids, and they all nod their heads in agreement. All 6 boys began to play while everybody else is enjoying swimming and other activities. One of the tourists is a gym teacher who is on summer vacation, and he is on a jet ski. Lucky! Jet skis are awesome.
This makes me really want to go out in the ocean, you know?
I know. He is an extremely muscular looking man wearing green and white swimming trunks with sunglasses. That is an interesting view, but okay. As he is riding his jet ski, he passes by a diving platform with 3 Filipino women are lying on. The gym teacher waves at the 3 women, and they wave back while blushing. Also enjoying the beautiful summer day is a 25-year-old man named Ed and his dog Shiloh. Silo. Is it Shiloh or Shiloh?
I think it's Shiloh, I think.
Okay. They are playing fetch while swimming in the beautiful ocean waters of Sunny City. While everybody is enjoying the nice summer, deep below the ocean waters is a chaotic force of nature. The force is slowly making its way closer to the surface and towards the legs of unsuspecting swimmers. Like I said, more bodies.
Tragedy.
Also, answer me something. Why is all your women in your books usually skinny and have a certain type of figures, while all the men are usually very muscular? Huh?
That is a good question.
Is there a certain detail there that I should be worried about?
You know, I honestly, to tell you the truth, I think I was trying to appeal to, you know, like, you know, maybe to both the men and women, and I just figured that's what they probably both would like. So that's what I did do, even if it's not my likeness. Is that the word?
Type.
Yeah. So really, it's yet again me as a writer taking myself out of what I want.
I was giving you shit. You didn't have to keep going into the detail.
You were giving me shit again.
Yes.
Well, guess what? I throw the shit back in your face. Now back to the book. No. Wash hands.
Washes everything.
Washes everything.
Yeah, had to. Can't have that shit on me.
Well, you're the one who started it there, shit monkey.
What the fuck? Viewers, I'm pretty sure Sudoku has been watching too much of Angry Video Game Nerd.
He's gonna take you back.
No, copyright. Shut up.
You started it, so you're the one who copyrighted. Eat that shit, there monkey shit. Ow!
What the fuck with that? Hey, you're the one that said you didn't want to be a part of it, so. There, miss.
Back to the book. Breaking rules. You can put the birdie back in the cage. Back to the book. Why do you keep throwing things at me?
Because it's fun.
Cool.
Anyway, don't mind us. We're just
We're a bunch of
messing around.
clowns.
Anywho,
A circus of clowns. Back to the
yes,
book.
yes, the three of us are circle of clowns.
Circle of clowns? It's whatever.
Shush. Okay. Okay, here it comes, shouted one of the six boys, having fun playing catch as he throws the ball. The opposite team managed to catch the ball, surprisingly happy that his friend catches the ball. His happy face turns into a frown when he feels something on his legs. The feeling was like as if you took a bunch of knives and scraped them against your skin on the bottom of your leg. Ew. Ouch! Shit! Shouted the boy in pain. Incoming! Shouted the opposite team when they tossed the ball, but it hit the boy in the face. However, he ignored the pain from the ball because he continues to feel sharp knives scraping against his body underwater. I'm gonna guess that is a shark because sharp knives would probably be like sandpaper. So
Um. Okay. I do want to respond to that, but I don't want to take up too much time. So I'll just read the book.
anywho, however, he he ignores pain. His whole
Sorry for
body
making.
underwater, which
Sorry.
was extraordinarily painful.
Sorry for making you lose your place.
The other boys noticed that he was in distress, which caused them to have concerned looks on their faces. However, nobody noticed at this point that something bad was happening. Hey man, are you. Ouch! What the hell? Said one of the boys next to the boy who was getting attacked. What's going. There's something in the water, said another kid as he swam close. He was about to say something, but he got interrupted in between sentences because he also started feeling things on his legs and stomach. One by one, each of the six kids began to panic because they felt excruciating pain all over their bodies. They didn't know what it was, they couldn't see it. Eventually, a lifeguard noticed that the kids were panicking. He also noticed that when one of the kids lifted up their arm, there looked like burn marks on it. On knowing the situation, the lifeguard made a decision. Whistle, please get out of the water now! Shouted the lifeguard when the lifeguard shouted that the gym teacher on a jet ski drove by the kids to see what was happening. Suddenly, the jet ski's propeller got tangled up on one of the jellyfish's tentacles, which then immediately stopped, causing the gym teacher to fall into the water. When he fell into the water, he was swarmed by dozens of jellyfish, seemingly stinging him purposely. Help! Shouted the gym teacher as he was trying to stay on the surface, but the millions of jellyfish are somehow pulling him a little bit under the surface and stinging him repeatedly. Eventually, everybody started to panic and try to swim out of the water. Amongst the panic, Ed turns his head for a moment to see what was happening. He was interrupted by whimpering noises, which turns out to be his poor dog being stung by jellyfish. As an effort to save his dog, he swam towards him, trying to get them ashore. However, he got caught up in the swarm of jellyfish himself and got stung dozens of times to the point where the jellyfish poison eventually killed both of them. Some of the panicking civilians managed to make it out of the beach, but many did not make it. As a result, it became nothing more than floating corpses in the ocean water. The civilians that didn't make it weren't unscathed. The civilians that did make it weren't unscathed. Many of the surviving civilians were stung by the poisonous jellyfish. Meanwhile,
Hey, float down here.
shush. Give me a minute. Meanwhile, Jack and Ellen decided to return to the boat back to their aquarium since they didn't find anything. Upon returning to the aquarium, Jack noticed that something strange was happening on the beach in the distance. He could not make out exactly what was happening, but he could see that people were in some sort of distress. Jack picked up some binoculars to try and look at the beach to see what was going on. "What's going on?" asked Ellen, approaching Jack as he's trying to make out what's happening on the beach. "I'm not sure, but I think there may be something happening on there," said Jack, but he was interrupted when the boat seemed to act like it hit something. Both Jack and Ellen almost lost their balance, but they managed to compose themselves. "What just happened?" shouted Jack to Keith, piloting the boat. "Not exactly sure," Keith responded as he attempted to turn off and turn on the boat to try and get it going. "Come on, you son of a bitch," Keith whispered to himself as he tries to start the motor. Keith managed to start the motor, but all of a sudden the motor self-combusted. "Oh shit! Looks like there's something caught in the propellers," explained Keith. Ellen took a closer look at the back of the boat. The propeller was where the propeller was. She couldn't really see it with her eyes, but she could tell there were lots of jellyfish beneath the boat. "Jack, you should take a look at this," shouted Ellen. Immediately, Jack walked over
Yeah,
there
take a look at this cliche. Sorry.
walked over to where Ellen was looking at the surface of the water and to see, somewhat below, camouflaged by the blue sea, dozens of jellyfish. Ellen looked up forward to see what that off in the distance where the sunlight was reflecting the camouflaged jellyfish beneath the ocean surface. Ellen picked up binoculars to take a look to see how many there really were in the distance. "My God, I've never seen this many jellyfish before," said Ellen with a slight hint of terror. As a quick response, Jack looked at Ellen with confusion. "Let me see the binoculars," asked Jack. Without question, Ellen gave him the binoculars, which he immediately looked through them. "My word, I would have to say that there has to be at least a mile of jellyfish in all directions," said Jack, looking through the binoculars. "Why are there so many jellyfish in the sea around here?" asked Ellen. Jack was going to respond, but all of a sudden the boat started to rock back and forth. Everybody in the boat was unable to maintain their balance before the boat stopped rocking. "What was that?" asked Ellen. "I don't know, but I get the feeling we should get out of here," Jack responded. "How are we going to do that? The motor doesn't work," explained Ellen with a slight hint of fear. Keith makes his way to the bow of the boat and looks ashore to see the dock in the distance. It's approximately 90 feet away from their current location. "Leave that to me," shouted Keith. "Okay. Before we head back, we need to at least get one of the jellyfish to bring back to the lab," explained Ellen. "Okay, then let's do it," said Jack with confidence. Ellen brings over a steel bucket filled with salt water and a plastic lid with holes to put over it. Jack grabs a fishing net and puts it into the water. He manages to capture one of the jellyfish before dumping it into the bucket. Ellen quickly slaps on the plastic lid. At the same time, Keith grabs a harpoon and aims it at the wooden dock pole. He fires at it, impaling the wood. After Ellen and Jack manage to obtain the jellyfish, Jack looks over and sees what Keith is doing at the bow of the boat. "You do realize that is a public dock, right?" shouted Jack to Keith. "They can send me the fucking bill when we get back to the civilization," explained Keith as he attaches the rope to a winch on the boat
Okay, that line was good.
and turns on the giant wheel on the boat before reeling them back to the dock. An hour later, Jack and Ellen manage to make it back to civilization. Keith is left at the docks to overlook the damage to the boat, while Jack and Ellen are in the lab at the aquarium. She dumps the jellyfish into a fish tank before walking over to a computer on the far side of the lab. "Okay, now what do we do?" asked Jack. "Well, the fish tank actually has X-ray scanners inside. We can dissect the jellyfish without cutting it open or extracting the something from its
A
body.
science word.
Yes, with needles. Explained
You can try
Ellen
if you can see it on the video. You can try to read it yourself.
as she activates the X-ray scans in the tank. Huh? What's that? Well, that's handy. Jack responded. Unfortunately, it will probably take anywhere from 10 to 20 hours to give or take for the scans to be done. Ellen explained Ellen. Why that long? X-rays aren't
Plot
supposed to take
convenience.
that long. You know what? Shush. Your plot convenience is very unrealistic.
uh, that's the point of plot convenience.
Shush. Jack looks over to the television hanging from the ceiling and sees the news going on. Today is an extreme tragedy here at Sunny Beach. A serious jellyfish attack has killed over 10 civilians in less than 10 minutes. Many people are being taken to the hospital, but the doctors said that they might not make it. We also have reports that many of the survivors from the beach attack did not survive the trip to the hospital. Unfortunately, there are only 4 survivors out of the 20 people who managed to get out of the waters before being consumed by the millions of jellyfish, said the news lady on television. Sounds like the chief it was too late to close the beaches before the jellyfish made their way there, said Jack with a sad voice. As they were down at the front with down as they were looking down at the floor with sadness after hearing about the unfortunate tragedy. A knock on the door gets both of their attention. Jack walks up to the door and opens to see Bert standing there. Did you guys hear the news? Asked Bert. Yes, what happened? I thought you were going to ask the mayor to close the beaches, asked Jack. Unfortunately, Mayor Kevin did not take the situation seriously enough to take action. I believe the mayor has to take the situation seriously now after such a tragedy happened. I just wish he took the situation more seriously earlier so this wouldn't have been avoided, said Chief Burt, looking at the death toll on the news with sadness and despair like Jack and Ellen are doing. Meanwhile, at the Quill's house, Mr. Quill was watching the terrible tragedy on the news. After his daughters passed away from the first jellyfish attack, both him and his wife have resorted to drinking, which makes them unable to accept their daughter's death. After he hears what happened on the news, he immediately blames the jellyfish for what has happened and chucks his beer bottle in anger as it shatters under the wall. Since both Mr. Quill and his wife have not been able to accept their daughter's death, they've been unable to sleep together for 2 days now. As the day goes on, Mr. Quill starts to feel anger and rage towards the jellyfish of the sea. Later that night, Mr. Quill snuck out of his house and readied his fishing boat. He brought 3 large boxes filled with shotgun shells along with a 12-gauge shotgun. He also brought an underwater camera to hook his monitor into his fishing boat. After he was finished putting things together, he took a picture from his house of his 2 daughters and hung it next to the boat's helm. After he gets into his truck and drives down to the beach with the fishing boat attached to the back to go into the sea for vengeance. Upon driving down there to the beach, Mr. Quill remembers the first time that little Christy spoke her first words. He was unable to stop crying and thinking about his dear daughters. He arrived at the beach and packed his boat into the ocean water. After that, he detached the boat from the truck and hopped onto the boat to drive out to the sea in the darkness of the night. Once Mr. Quill got about at least a mile out at sea, he stopped the boat and lowered the underwater camera that was hooked to his monitor. The underwater camera had a light that helped to see under the water, and as he immediately looked to lower the camera, he could see some of the jellyfish moving around towards the surface, heading for his boat. As he looks at the jellyfish on the monitor, he remembers the time he adopted Cheryl and how happy Christy was to have a real sister. Looking at both the monitor and the picture of his daughters, he the combined memories and seeing his daughter's killers made him scream in rage. He grabbed his 12-gauge shotgun and started to shoot at the water blindly. He managed to hit one of the jellyfish with a shotgun bullet, obliterating it into pieces. "You stupid evil monsters, I will kill you all!" shouted Mr. Quill as he emptied the clip of his shotgun, and only missing twice. Shit. Decent shot, I guess.
He's losing his mind.
To be fair, he just lost both his kids.
Yeah, that is fair.
And drinking and losing people, along with also the news going crazy. Yeah, that kind of might put a screw loose in your head for a little while. What they should have done, knowing that they just went through loss and needed time to grieve, they should have put them in a place that would be, well, basically protectants. Considering that they still had to do investigations, you know.
Okay.
Anywho, after emptying his clip, he sat down on the floor of his boat and started crying and wishing for his daughters to come back to him alive. A wish that can never happen. All of a sudden, his boat started to rock back and forth. As a quick response, Mr. Quill stopped crying and was confused on what was happening. In the waters beneath the boat, hundreds of jellyfish come closer to the surface and start pushing the boat around. Mr. Quill's instincts told him it was the jellyfish attacking, but it was hard for him to believe. In the condition that he was in, he couldn't think rationally. Mr. Quill got up and walked towards the three boxes at the bow of the boat and reloaded his shotgun. All the jellyfish started to work together and push the boat to the left, and the boat began to tilt a little bit, slightly making him lose his balance, while he manages to catch himself before falling into the sea. In severe anger and lust for vengeance, Mr. Quill walks to the right of the boat and aims downward with his shotgun and fires. "Take this and that, you cruel, sorry excuses for animals." They're not real, well, they're kind of animals, but
They are animals.
alright. Anywho, shouted Mr. Quill as he continues to fire, killing as many jellyfish as he possibly can. The boat was dragged into a rock just below the surface, and the rock penetrated the boat's hull. As a result, water started to rush into the empty space on the boat, and it began to sink. From the force of the shock wave of the boat hitting the rock, Mr. Quill falls to the left, causing his hand to go into the water by accident. One of the jellyfish quickly wraps its tentacles around his hand and constantly stinging him. Mr. Quill begins to scream in agony as he tries to pull the jellyfish off his hand. He manages to do so, but his hand is severely torn to shreds by the stinging, poisonous tentacles. As the water continues to flood the boat, he quickly grabs his shotgun and starts firing once again to kill as many jellyfish as he can. However, Mr. Quill was having a hard time pulling the trigger because it was the hand that was stung just so happened to be the hand he normally uses. Every time he pulls the trigger, he felt immense pain of the steel rubbing against the sting marks on his fingers. Mr. Quill was so consumed by his anger and rage to even notice how much the boat is sinking. Eventually it sank beneath his feet. Without warning, he begins to panic, swim around during this cold night, in the middle of the ocean. The jellyfish purposely swam into Mr. Quill's pants and wrapped their tentacles around his leg, constantly stinging him with the intent to kill. One of the jellyfish wrapped around his throat and began to sting him, making it hard for Mr. Quill to breathe. With a combination of being unable to breathe and the constant flow of jellyfish poison flowing through his veins, Mr. Quill eventually died. Well, you wanted to rejoin your daughters. You did.
What
But,
a
but,
tragic end.
but being a stupid idiot, but you know.
Wow. No sympathy for the dead.
Well, I do, but I understand that he was going through a lot. But if you had really been listening to the news, yes, maybe not being in the right mind at all. In what mind would you go out to the fucking ocean knowing that you're most likely going to die anyway?
Yeah, I kind of feel like your complaint is a little invalid on this one, but okay.
It's just being an idiot, but it's okay. Well, okay, let's see. That same night, while Ellen was waiting on the results of the scan on the jellyfish that they caught, Jack took her to a fancy restaurant. Oh, adorable. A date. Jack and Ellen
I
sat
sense a bit of sarcasm.
Jack and Ellen sat down at the table, ordered their food, and began talking to her. Have you ever gone out to eat before? You seem oddly nervous, asked Jack, noticing that Ellen was acting slightly nervous. Well, to tell you the truth, I haven't gone out to eat since, Ellen responded, but she paused for a moment, with a confused look as if she was trying to remember. Since when? Asked Jack. Since my first date as a senior prom. I never think about it. Almost feels like it's been centuries, Ellen responded with nostalgia. You do realize this is not really a date, right? Asked Jack with confusion. Oh no, of course not. Right. Ellen responded with nervousness and sarcasm. Alrighty then. You like to make things weird. Seems to be a thing.
Well, I was trying to make a romantic scene, but I wind up making things more cringing. I really should not be writing romance novels. Yes.
I'm not gonna respond at this time.
Okay.
Okay.
I have no idea what just happened, but okay.
It is what it is.
Okay.
Eh,
What are you doing?
Trying to get comfortable. But I can't. Eh. Damn it. There.
Just trying to watch you try to get comfortable is actually kind of funny to watch.
No, yes.
Never. Anyways, back to the book. So I will hush.
Do you have any chocolate?
Yes, I do. Do you want to order chocolate for my book? Alrighty, coming up. Actually, what do you want? Do you want a Reese's, a Kit Kat, or a Hershey's bar?
A Reese's and a Kit Kat, and that's it.
Okay, coming up. Coming
You
at
want any? Do you want me to pause this or keep reading?
Keep reading.
Alright. Are you okay? Asked Jack with confusion. Of course I'm fine. Ellen immediately responded. So, how much longer is the X-ray scan going to take? Asked Jack with seriousness. Actually, I have it connected to my cell phone, so when it's ready, I will know, explained Ellen as she looked at her phone for a couple of seconds. You know, I have to say, I think it's strange that you've never gone out to eat before, said Jack with curiosity. Well, to tell you the truth, I'm so busy at the aquarium as a marine biologist that I have hardly any time to actually go out to eat. I mostly cook my own meals at home and bring my lunch with me to work. So it's really special when somebody takes me out to eat, explained Ellen. You know, I have to agree. In this field of work, there is no time really to relax much or any time to think about one's
Just
future.
afraid of the audience. I don't want to make the audience sick. Would you turn around? Would you stop doing that, please?
I kinda can't. It's helped me focus.
Okay. Sorry for the nauseousness.
Now you made me lose my place. Meanie.
That wasn't intentional.
Said Jack with a charming smile. As a quick response, Ellen blushed and smiled slightly. Has anybody ever told you that you have a beautiful smile? Said Jack. Wow. Okay. Romance.
You know what? Honestly, this is so cringing. I think this will be my last and only romance attempt ever. I'm so bad at this.
Actually, you're not. I'm just giving you shit because I'm your sister.
I'm sad.
You're not used to taking shit. It's okay.
Well, I've I've taken shit before, but the thing is, I worked hard on this. So
Yeah.
getting shit thrown at for something I worked hard on is, well, that's not like throwing shit at somebody. That's like punching somebody in the balls. Not fun.
Okay. Your books are good. You are a good writer.
Thanks.
And I do enjoy reading them. I also just like giving you shit because it's fun.
Thank you. Fuck you.
There you go. That's a good response to that one. Thank you, said Ellen with a quick response. All of a sudden, Ellen gets distracted by her phone vibrating on the table. She picked it up and saw the scan was done. She began looking over the test results. The first thing that she noticed is that there are extremely high radiation levels in the jellyfish's mazogly, something like that. She also noticed that the jellyfish they captured was an adolescent, but possessed adult reproductive organs. At this moment, Jack noticed a concerned look on Ellen's face, as she looked at her phone. What's the matter, Ellen? Asked Jack. I got the results. I think I know what the problem is, but I can't prove it, said Ellen. What's the problem? Asked Jack with confusion. At that point, Ellen put down her phone and thought to herself for a moment. Hey, Jack, would you be willing to come with me on a possibly illegal trip? Oh, wonderful, asked Ellen. Sure thing, but I want to know what this is about first, asked Jack. Well, about 6 years ago, the mayor built a power plant that was supposedly powered by only water. However, I don't believe that considering I have evidence that many of the coral reefs around here are dead due to radiation exposure. The ocean is suffering and I want to do something about it. But going against the mayor of a city ran off of tourism is almost impossible, explained Ellen. I heard from somewhere that you were into the concept of protecting animals and so forth. To tell the truth, I am on the same page when it comes to protecting the ocean. Other members and I of the Oceanographic Institute were always protesting against nuclear power. However, to no country seems to agree that nuclear power is dangerous to nature, said Jack. So are you with me then? Asked Ellen. When do we start? Asked Jack with seriousness. Shortly after, they both took their food to go and left. Beneath the dark waters of the night in sunny beach, tons of jellyfish lie just beneath the surface of the water. The jellyfish are swimming along, almost looking like they're hopping underwater in different directions. The full moon is reflecting off of the bioluminescent jellyfish beneath the waters, giving them a sinister dark blue glow, signifying the dangerous poisonous tentacles of the deep. Like all animals, the jellyfish are incapable of sentient thought, yet they have a subconscious mind which can be mistaken for independent thought. And that is a fact.
Thank you. Wait. Thank you
Mm.
for not giving me shit.
Mm-hmm. The polluted radioactive water is causing them to breathe like hang on. Causing them to breed like flies. However, the polluted waters are also killing all of the coral reefs that feed the jellyfish, resulting in no fish being nearby for the jellyfish to prey upon. The jellyfish are starving to death. As they continue to breed, the jellyfish subconsciously hope that the next generation will live with more full bellies. Despite the fact that they have a subconscious mind, the radioactive waters have allowed them to have a mind where all jellyfish can think the same thoughts. As a result, they all agreed that humans are somehow to blame for their starvation. This is why they instinctively attack the humans without thought or reason. The jellyfish's ability to change colors with bioluminescent lights enable them to continue to communicate to each other in different ways. Due to their immense rage and hate towards humans, the jellyfish began to change colors from red to blue. This change signifying sadness for the starvation of their kind and the rage towards humanity who has caused their starvation. That same that same mm, that same night, Mayor Calvin went to his office to pick up some things to take home. The mayor walks over to his desk and tries to turn on a light, but it doesn't turn on. He tries again and again until he hears somebody talking to him. "What's the matter, Mr. Mayor? Did you forget to pay your electric bill?" said a very sinister voice in the far corner of the office. The mayor looked over to pitch black corner to see a dark human figure sitting there. "Mr. Slugs, you shouldn't be here." Uh-oh. Someone's in trouble.
This gets interesting.
Said the mayor with the sound of fear in his voice. "The boss sent me here to make sure that this little jellyfish incident wasn't going to prevent you from paying the $33 billion that you still owe him." Holy shit, that's a lot of money. Explained Mr. Slugs as he walks up to the mayor with intimidation. This causes Kelvin to step back against the wall in fear. He starts to remember that before becoming mayor, he was a big gambler and wound up in big debt with the mafia in New York City. Oof. Naughty, naughty. That's how you get
What the
yourself in big
fuck?
messes.
Naughty, naughty? What the? What are
Uh
you?
huh.
What are you? A child?
Yeah,
Anyways,
no! The fuck is wrong with you?
what the fuck is wrong with you? Back to the book.
Gambling only makes things worse for you.
Yes, I know, but that naughty. Back to the book. Good lord.
I was trying to be funny.
Instead of
Stop
being
raining on the
instead of
parade.
being funny, you're being weird.
You know what? The double fuck you.
Fucky you.
Markiplier.
Yes. The almighty Markiplier. Hashtag not sponsored. Back to the book.
Anywho, after Kelvin was elected mayor in Sunny City, he decided to use some of the tourist money to try to pay off his debt. He used some people to build a power plant so he can use the money from everybody's electric bill in Sunny City to help quicken the pace of paying off his debt. Ah, okay. Now I understand that. Excuse me. Don't worry, Mr. Slugs. It's absolutely nothing. Besides, I don't think you would kill the mayor, right? You just wouldn't get away with it, said Mayor Kelvin with nervousness in his voice as he began to give off cold sweat. Don't ever underestimate someone part of the mafia when it comes to getting away with certain things.
Yes.
That face. I'm sorry.
Just the look you were giving me was confusing me.
Ah, okay. Anywho, how much of your city are you willing to bet based on that assumption? Asked Mr. Slugs with a sinister grin as he grabs the mayor's tie. Oh. Oof.
How much are you willing to bet on that assumption?
Zero.
Yeah, I think Bishop is like, yeah, exactly. Now get us the fucking money. And throws you onto the floor. That was a perfect one of those. I don't know. I think it's from Godfather. I think.
Don't worry, Mr. Slugs. I will get the money even if I have to sell my entire city to pay for it, said Mayor Calvin with nervousness. Ow, my toe.
You're fine. Tis but a scratch.
Mm, that's what I like to hear. Now go to your stupid power plant and make sure everything is operational. We can expect those electric bills that you have been paying us are actually worth their merit, or you'll be swimming with the jellyfish, said Mr. Slugs as he lets go of the mayor's tie and leaves the building. Just outside the southwest of Sunny City is the power plant. The power plant is behind a mountain and is built like a secret facility with a barbed wire fence surrounding the foundation. The power plant is built on top of an underground flowing river that feeds into the ocean. The river water creates electricity by using a radioactive generator to make it flow faster, generating artificial electricity into Sunny City. The radioactive generator is built into an underwater system that keeps the generator cool. However, this exposes the water to radiation particles, which the builders did not care about. That night, Ellen took Jack to sneak into the power plant dressed in black clothing. Ellen came to the power plant to prove that it is the reason behind the jellyfish situation. As they sneak up to one of the barbed wire fences, Ellen takes bolt cutters to break it open. Ellen, is there any other way to prove that the power plant is responsible for the jellyfish? Asked Jack with nervousness. I've tried everything. I guess the only way to solve this problem is to commit breaking and entering, explained Ellen as she finishes making the hole into the fence. Jack nods with his head back and forth, feeling that this is too much of a risk. But he feels at the same time that trying to stop Ellen at this point would be pointless. So he just follows her, making sure she doesn't get into too much trouble. As Jack and Ellen sneak around into the facility, she takes out a camera and looks around for any evidence that the power plant is actually a radioactive facility polluting the ocean. Okay, aren't there thermometers or something like that that you could have just literally gone to the ocean that's nearest to where the power plant is located and just kind of took a sample from there?
Maybe, but I wouldn't know anything about that. That's where my expertise is like non-existent.
Because that way she wouldn't have to break into anything. She literally would just have to go to the
Yeah,
nearest location of the
but like I
ocean.
said, I don't know anything about that. And besides, that would go against the plot now, wouldn't it?
Well, research is a lovely thing. Gives you plenty of ideas, too.
I'm gonna say I said this before, and I'm gonna say it again. When I'm writing, I'm under a rock, which means no information.
I will gladly research for you.
Yet again, I'm pretty much cut off from society when I'm writing.
Anywho, around almost the same time, the mayor gets out of his car after arriving at the power plant and walks into the facility. He makes his way into the overlooking lab, which is a room with tons of equipment monitoring the condition of the power plant. In the lab, the mayor meets with the power plant's overseer, Hector. Oh, good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, said Hector as he shakes the mayor's trembling hand. Nice to see you, Hector. I'm just here to make sure everything is running properly, said the mayor with nervousness. You look like hell there, Mr. Mayor. Maybe you should just go home and get some sleep, said Hector with confidence. Meanwhile, Ellen and Jack managed to find an unlocked door and made their way into the facility. As they were sneaking around, an alarm goes off suddenly. Was that us? Asked Jack with a worry in his voice. Back in the lab, one of the scientists looked at one of the monitors on the computer. Sir, something is blocking one of the filters. If we don't send a diver to check it out, the power plant could explode. Oof, explained one of the scientists. Well, then what are you waiting for? Pick up the goddamn phone and get somebody down there, shouted Hector in anger. Yes, sir, responded one of the scientists with sarcasm. Idiots, whispered Hector. The mayor decided to stay, but he was extremely nervous at what was
I didn't
happening.
realize that was fun.
Don't you ever reread your books?
Not really. I mean, when I'm writing my book, sometimes I use Dragon Program to read back what I've written sometimes, but I don't do it too often. I only do it to make sure that something is done correctly. But most of the time, it's my editors who read the book back to me. But even then, I don't remember what I write.
All right. Meanwhile, Jack and Ellen
Memory
continued
of a
to stay
goldfish.
looking around. They start to make their way down to the second floor below and saw somebody getting into a diving suit, about to jump into what looks like a man-made water pipe. When the diver jumped into the water, he immediately noticed that the entire underwater complex was flooded with jellyfish. Not understanding what was happening, the diver panicked and tried to swim back to the surface. However, one of the jellyfish attached itself to his hand and suddenly started stinging him. The diver managed to get out of the water, but the jellyfish was still attached to his hand. He took the diving gear off his face and grabbed the top of the jellyfish and managed to pull off the jellyfish off his hand, but it was already scarred from stings. He threw the jellyfish back into the water and made his way to a phone that was on the wall. He picked up the phone and called the lab. "Houston, we have a problem," said the diver. "What's going on down there? Please give me a report," said the scientist back in the lab. The diver wanted to answer, but the poison started to have an effect on his body. He started to go into shock and couldn't speak. He fell into the ground, having what looked like to be a seizure. "Are you okay?"
It should be noted that I don't know what the side effects of jellyfish venom is.
Well, depending on the type of jellyfish and how
uh,
much venom they typically have, it can take anywhere from like a few seconds to a few hours to actually
yeah,
kill
I
you.
know that, and I was gonna be specific when I written this book. I was gonna call them make them the moon jellyfish, which are the deep sea jellyfish, but I decided just to leave it just jellyfish and let the writer's imagination
Well,
go with
if
it.
you're gonna pinpoint them as the moon jellyfish, their poison really isn't actually that strong.
Yeah, I figured as much.
And usually their poison will take up to about, I think, I don't know, a few
I
hours.
mean, I do know that there are some jellyfish that can kill you quickly, but
If you want to go to one that can kill you quickly, you're going to be looking into the one that you see in the Deep Blue Sea game. That big one, that really big one that you see in the deep waters
oh yeah,
in the cavern, that's like that. That's the one you're going to look for.
yeah. There's also smaller jellyfish that are really poisonous called box jellyfish.
Yes.
Those things can kill you fast.
That's the one that you see in Nemo.
I don't think that's the same species.
Well, it's
Because
related.
because box jellyfish are called box jellyfish because the top of their heads are square, and the ones that you see in Nemo are kind of round and purple, so I don't think they're the same species. And we're talking about marine biology, which is it's a fun subject, but I really don't know very much, and I don't think you do neither.
I'll get back to you on the different poisons.
Yeah,
I'll have to look into it again. I used to really know this stuff because I was really interested in it at one time, but
yeah,
give me a quick.
I do find it interesting too, but I think we're wasting a lot of time. I think we got ourselves already an hour video.
Well, yeah. Shouted Ellen, running up to the diver as quickly as possible. Ellen quickly noticed that the diver's hand the hand had red stings all over it. "Jesus, we need to get this man to the hospital and fast," shouted Ellen with concern. While Ellen was attending to the diver, Jack looked down into the water pipes and noticed that they were swarming with jellyfish. "Ellen, you got to take a look at this," said Jack with concern. "Never mind that, Jack," said Ellen. She was going to continue saying something, but the diver's heart stopped from the poison and he passed away. "Never mind, Jack. He's gone," said Jack in tears. Said Ellen in tears.
He's dead. He's dead, Jim. Name the reference, and you're awesome.
Jack walks around a little bit and notices a large machine inside a very large pool. The pool is also infested with dozens of jellyfish. "Ellen, you've really got to take a look at this," said Jack. Ellen stands
You
up
really gotta take a look at this cliche.
and walks over to Jack to see the machine inside the big pool. "That looks like a nuclear reactor," said Ellen. "Yeah, and what the hell is it doing in the water?" asked Jack. "I don't know," responded Ellen as she takes a picture of the nuclear reactor. "Hey, you! Stop taking pictures!" shouted Hector, running at them with the mayor behind them. "Let's go!" started Jack as he grabs Ellen by the arm, and both of them start running from Hector and the mayor. They went to open the door and turned right, running across the metal bridge over the radioactive pool. Hector and the mayor run as fast as they could to follow them, but one of the screws came loose from underneath the metal bridge, causing the mayor to fall into the radioactive pool. Well, you've done dead.
It is your fate.
All the jellyfish swarm at him and sting him to death. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, asshole.
Mm-hmm.
This is your fate. Welcome to hell.
I mean, this could have all been avoided if you just didn't freaking gamble.
Yep. I guess
Hector
so.
was too busy chasing after Ellen and Jack to notice what happened. Well, lovely you! You literally just let the person that you were working for fucking die. Wow! What a fucking asshole.
I think I get the feeling that Hector would probably just let him die because he might be a cold bastard.
He'd probably be looking down in the water and be like, whatever. Another one bites the dust.
From Despicable Me, Gru's mother.
Mm-hmm.
Or from that stage comedy, blah.
Da-da-da-da-da. Another one bites the dust.
Alright, back to the book.
Just gotta add another casualty. Part of the game.
A little more casualties to come, but keep going.
Wonderful. Bring on the genocide.
It is the climax of the book, so.
Yes. Anywho, let's go. Ellen, Jack, and Hector pass a burst water pipe, and one of the jellyfish jumped out of the water and wrapped itself around Hector's face. Woohoo! Another asshole down. Boop, 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 boop. The jellyfish started stinging his eyeball out of the skull while at the same time burning his face. Ow. That's a hell of a way to go. Hector managed to rip
I can't believe this is the one time that my sister's like, wow, that's a really horrible way for an asshole to die. I actually feel sorry for him.
Actually, I don't feel sorry for him. I just said it's a bad thing to die from, but it's okay. It's an asshole.
Wow. Cold-hearted bitch.
Hector managed to rip the jellyfish off his face, but he was unable to see anything with the jellyfish poison going into his brain, causing him to immediately faint to the ground. Hector then slowly dies from direct jellyfish poison to the brain. I think that would have been an immediate death, but okay.
Well, I wanted to make it sound like he suffered.
I mean, he probably suffered for a few minutes, but that'd be about it. Anywho, Jack and Ellen are running around the power plant for a while until they noticed they were no longer being chased. So they both stopped and took a moment to catch their breath. Meanwhile, back at the lab, the scientists not able to reach anybody on the phone, and the situation of the clogged water pipes were getting worse. They decided to call the chief of police to have the city evacuated. You lovely dicks decided to build a power plant, thinking that it was gonna be great, decided to place the radioactive power thing in the fucking water, and then expect the animals to be okay. And then not expect something horrible to eventually happen.
Yeah, pretty much.
Where is your fucking logic?
Out the window, 10,000 miles in space.
Seems about right for all of humanity, pretty much. Yet they call the people who are autistic idiots. But we're the most logistical people you can think of.
Only the high functioning ones? Question mark?
Actually, no. They're just pretty much all of us.
Well, have
if
you
you really
ever
look at
seen the low functioning ones before, where they don't even speak? They act like they're
Yes, but there are people that
they kind of act, you know those people who have Alzheimer's. They're kind of like that, only worse.
Just because they stim a lot doesn't mean they're not stupid. They do use technology. I have seen them use technology. and they can text. They just can't speak. It's called nonverbal.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Anyways, back to the book.
I have done research. Anywho,
Somehow I think your research comes from my Cracker Jacker box.
I will prove myself in a sec. Just let me finish this fucking book.
Giving you
That is
shit.
actually pretty
Giving you
decent.
shit.
Fuck off with the shit.
Sure, okay. Back to the book.
Okay. That night, Chief Burt gets a call from the power plant while he is in bed sleeping. Hearing the ringing of his telephone, Burt gets out of bed and stumbles to his phone to pick it up. Yes, what is it? Said Burt, half asleep. You need to get the National Guard to evacuate Sunny City immediately. The power plant is about to explode, shouted the scientist on the phone. Wait. Slow down and tell me again. Nothing to wake you up like a freaking series of mayhem,
Basically, yeah.
asked Burt. The power plant is about to explode. Please evacuate the city immediately, shouted the scientist with seriousness in his voice. At that moment, Bert started to wake up and understand what he was talking about. Even though he wasn't too sure what was going on, he felt that his citizens were in danger. Okay, if that's the case, get out of the power plant immediately, explained Bert as he hangs up the phone. Yeah, exactly. Logic! And common sense, too. Which also doesn't really run that well in humanity either. The scientist hangs up the phone and leaves with his partner. As the two scientists are leaving the lab, they run into Jack and Ellen walking around the corner. At first, Jack and Ellen were worried that they were about to be chased and arrested. They were stopped when the scientist spoke. What the hell are you two doing here? We need to get out of here, explained one of the scientists. Wait a minute, we? Asked Jack with confusion. Wait a minute. The alarms, they're getting louder, said Ellen. That's right, the power plant is about to explode, explained the scientist's partner. Well, we have to get out of here then, said Jack. There is an underground tunnel that was built for this occasion. We have to go there and drive our emergency underground car, explained the scientist. The two scientists, Ellen and Jack, made their way to the underground car and escaped before the power plant exploded. During the time while Ellen and Jack were escaping the power plant with the scientists, the National Guard quickly came into Sunny City to evacuate everybody with the help of Chief Burt. Please evacuate the area. This is not a drill, shouted the National Guard and Sunny City police force with megaphones. People began waking up out of their sleep to start leaving immediately. Some people don't truly understand what is going on and begin leaving calmly. The other people began panicking and realizing the extreme danger of the situation they're in. An hour later, everybody managed to evacuate Sunny City before the power plant exploded. The explosion took off half of the city with it, leaving a complete radioactive wasteland. Despite everybody getting out safely, still beneath the waters of abandoned Sunny City lies the parasite swarm of jellyfish. The end.
What'd you think about this one?
That was pretty good.
Thank
Although
you.
I think this might be a sequel.
Please like and subscribe, and this is Zerduku signing out.